Well, it's these two again. For the fifth year in a row, the grand final will feature one of Sydney FC or Melbourne City, the perennial chasers of silverware. Sydney FC, 5 times champions, an Australian record. Melbourne City, premiers 3 years in a row, unprecedented in the A-League era. But which one of them wins through this two-legged semi-final? All right, Isuzu UTE tunnel cap, capturing perhaps one or two pre-match nerves. Big occasion, big game, and it requires big performances from some of the big players on show tonight. Here's the team news. Steve Corica sticks with the same starting 11 that got the job done against Western Sydney Wanderers last week, resisting the temptation to reinstate Joe Lolley, who again starts on the bench as he continues his recovery from a hamstring problem. That 11 contains 5 former City players: Redmayne, Wilkinson, Bratton, Rattray and Caceres. Alex Wilkinson plays in his 29th finals match, the most in the A-League era, though still well behind Alex Tobin's all-time mark of 47. Adam Lafondra and Robert Mack, both in a rich vein of form at the moment. Between them, they've scored 10 of Sydney's last 14 goals. And the Sky Blues will be cheered on by the Cove, who've sorted out their differences with the APL. As for Melbourne City, a couple of changes from the side that defeated the Wanderers in round 27 a fortnight back. The big news is that Aidan O'Neill hasn't travelled due to general soreness, though he's expected to be fine for the second leg. Valon Berisha returns after being rested against the Wanderers due to a hip problem. Matt Leckie returns for his first start in 2 months after a hamstring injury. Andrew Naboot drops down to the bench. Tom Glover plays his 100th A-League men's game. Steve Corica has a better win percentage in the finals than anyone. Not even Ange Postecoglou can match his 85% success rate in knockout football. Rado Vidicic, would you believe that tonight represents his debut in finals football as a coach at the age of 61, at least in the men's competition. He did, however, lead Melbourne City to finals glory in 2020 in the A-League women's competition. And Sydney FC get the ball rolling. 180 minutes of football, potentially longer. And of course, no away goals rule in place to decide who will contest the grand final. A very good evening to Andy Harper. Harps, who's got the edge in this one, do you fancy?
It is a very good evening, Simon. Thank you, and welcome to everybody watching on 10 and Paramount Plus. Well, Melbourne City have to have the edge over 2 games. They've proven through the season, Simon, that the more games that are played, the further the gap between they and the chasing pack.
Given away, though, by McLaren. Bratton into a little pocket of space for Caceres. Lays it off for Robert Mack. Sydney pressing in these opening stages. On the turn is Caceres, all wrapped up by Good. It breaks for Robert Mack and forced in by Lafondra, but the flag is up on the far side. And it's not going to count, despite the celebrations in the Cove. VAR, of course, will have a look at it. But the linesman's flag was raised against Robert Mack.
Well, it's nice work from Caceres, who's clearly offside there. It's not on the final action. There's another cutback here, and Caceres has to do really well to squeeze the ball out. Getting rid of Curtis Good, that might have been offside as well. Lafondra's innocent. I think Mack.
They met here back in round 7. Remember, it was Rado Vidicic's debut as the coach. That's Rattray doing the stealing of the ball. And Burgess threads it through for Lafondra! And Sydney are claiming a touch off Tom Glover. The goal kick is the verdict.
That's a great effort. Wonderful work in midfield from Talo Rattray. A really good defensive midfielder play. He nudged the ball clear to... It's a great save too.
Clear save by Tom Glover.
Clear save. It's a wonderful effort from Lafondra after being put away by Max Burgess.
That's not bad either between Mack and Keane, and it's released Max Burgess here. It's time to get his head up. A round 1 challenge. It breaks here for Mack. There's a whole crowd of players that he had to force the ball through. Oh, Tom Glover almost completely deceived by the bounce there. And that invites further pressure from the home side. He didn't look completely convincing, did he? Down the line by Boss. Looking for the 1-2 with Leckie. He's got it. And there was a little bit of contact there from Ryan Grant, and it's going to be a free kick for Melbourne City.
Grant protests. He half reached in, tried to disguise it. Clear foul. So to Matthew Leckie. A great pairing down the left for City.
Free kick drilled in, and it's gone into the roof of the goal. I think Matt Leckie's getting the congratulations. It flew in at a fair old rate of knots. And Leckie, I think, got the touch past Redmayne. And Melbourne City have the lead on 18 minutes. Sydney undone from the set piece.
Well, it's a bullet free kick. It's a bullet header on the Harvey Norman replay. And you'd have to say it is Matthew Leckie, I think. It's really hard to see. It was all at such pace. Yes, Leckie with the glancing header. And after really against the run of play, I'd say, Sydney were looking very, very dangerous themselves. The first effort on goal for Melbourne City finds the back of the net with their superb Socceroo, Matthew Leckie, on the end of that free kick. Whoopsie.
Rodwell's got an awful tangle, and Van der Ven should have made more of it. Goodness me, what a let-off for Sydney. Barisha to deliver in front of the City fans. And it's off the crossbar from Curtis Goods. And again, Sydney could not defend the set piece.
Well, here's the header from Curtis Good. Wilkinson and King not able to deal with Curtis Good. And they are very thankful that the crossbar could. It would have been a hammer blow for Sydney.
City's attacking thirds down the left-hand side predominantly. Tilio's been pretty quiet. Jamie McLaren, 24 goals this season, but ball just a fraction too heavy for him. Mack inside the penalty area. Lovely turn by Robert Mack. And Glover forced to make the save with the legs. Has Grant available. Lovely football by Ryan Grant. Caceres saved by Glover brilliantly the second time round. That is outstanding goalkeeping. And City somehow scrambling clear. What a double save by Tom Glover.
That's truly incredible. Bit of a heavy touch there for Caceres, that slightly put it in the frame for City to defend it. But then even so, you can't consider that that's not going to be a goal. Stevie Corrigan thought it was for sure.
That's right. It's nudged off balance by Van der Ven. Wasn't an awful lot in it, but enough.
Well, wouldn't this just be football, Simon? Sydney dominate the opening exchanges. Melbourne City get a free kick from not a dissimilar position, take the lead and then dominate.
Let's see what Robert Mack could produce from this free kick. Teed up Adam Lafondra to score against the Wanderers. Straight down the throat of Tom Glover. Brenton, Leckie contesting the ball again. Rodwell there ahead of Boss, and Redmayne to sweep it upfield. One in the air by Goods. Oh, nodded back forcefully by Van der Ven. Oh, and that could have gone anywhere off Glover. Fortunately for him, it cannoned off Lafondra and behind for a goal kick, but could so easily have gone between the posts. And that little moment of panic in the Melbourne City defence, all caused by a rather needless back header from Richard Van der Ven.
Well, now I'm happy that that hit Lafondra's arm and not his head, with the ball going at that speed.
Well, half-time, eventful to say the least. Tom Glover, certainly one of the reasons why Melbourne City are in front. 3 very good saves. Matt Leckie vindicating Rado Vidicic's decision to include him from the off for the first time in over 2 months. Glover's been brilliant between the sticks. Matt Leckie, though, from Barisha's free kick with the moment that matters. Steve Corica had to put in a big half-time team talk against the Wanderers last week to turn things around. He's going to have to do so again at the break at Allianz. It's Sydney FC 0, Melbourne City 1. As for Melbourne City, who are going to kick off the second half, well, oddly enough, they've only ever been successful in 1 away finals game. That was against Wellington Phoenix all the way back in 2015. And Sydney have only lost once in Sydney in the finals. That was to victory. 3-2 after extra time, the last game at the old Allianz Stadium. So a huge 3/4 of an hour ahead. Andy Harper and Steve Corica will have tried to work his magic again during the interval, no doubt. Rattray looking to hit Ryan Grant to the back post. He's found him. Scooped away by Nuno Reyes. One back by Rodwell. How many times have we seen that manoeuvre down the years? No foul by Grant on Van der Ven. In towards the near post, and Lafondra completely missed his kick. But encouragement for Sydney FC. Wilkinson. King. Burgess. Lovely little drop to the shoulder. And then accelerates into that pocket of space. Leaves it for King. Near post is Caceres. Good football this by Sydney. Mac for Grant. Rattray. They let it run. Ryan Grant. And Glover grabs onto it gratefully. Nice move though. And City have turned the ball straight back over. Rodwell's going to have a go here. And Lafondra was trying to get a touch on that.
Yeah, good play from Sydney. Switch down to the right again. Ryan Grant with a give and go. And Curtis Good has done enough just to put, didn't seed a doubt in Ryan Grant's mind, no doubt.
Important moments these, potentially, in the first leg of the semi-final. Joe Lolly being readied. Down on the sidelines by the home side. Van der Ven finds Boss. And Boss almost got it past Redmayne. Terrific stuff from Jordan Boss. And just tried to jab it futsal style past the goalkeeper.
That's a beautiful shift of the body weight to get rid of the defenders. He starts wide and it's another give and go. Van der Ven rewards. Beautiful little shift to get rid of Ryan Grant.
Barisha. Managed to find the angle to get it out wide for Talbot. And that took an awkward bounce just in front of Redmayne. Burgess. And Nuno Reyes there again. Sydney will come again. Caceres, the challenge from Nuno Reyes was late. Fractionally, and Adam Kersey points to the penalty spot. And Sydney will have the chance to equalise from 11 metres.
Well, is this the chance? They will come. I think it's a penalty. It's not going to be overturned. You just have to believe that the chance will come. And Sydney with a good spell of possession.
Anthony Caceres, not a regular penalty taker, is going to get the responsibility. Well, in the context of this two-legged tie, this is huge for Sydney FC. Tom Glover's made 3 really big saves already. Can he make another to protect City's lead? Caceres sees his effort saved again by Tom Glover. It's a massive stop once more by the Olyroos custodian. What a night he's having. And Sydney denied again from the penalty spot.
Well, Tom Glover's at the peak of his powers at the moment. It's not a great penalty from Caceres, and he never looked likely in the preparation.
Steve Corica can't quite believe it.
Is there a delay on whether Tom Glover left the line too quickly?
Yeah, that's my read on it too. And we understand there's going to be a retake. Goodness me. Well, Glover's got 1 foot behind the line. It's encroachment, I think, by Callum Talbot. And Adam Lafondra, who spurned the first penalty, now says, I'll take the responsibility. He normally goes for power. Let's see. Finds the bottom corner. Nothing Tom Glover could do this time. All square in the first leg of the semi-final.
I talk about nervous for Sydney. Their main marksman didn't want to take the first one. And I'd suggest on the Harvey Norman replay, this is the save of Caceres. He steps up to relieve Caceres on the second. It's a really good penalty, this one needed to be, because Glover was all over it otherwise. And we're back square at Allianz. There's the chance that Melbourne City will present to you.
He was trying to steal it at the near post. He's been waved away and has taken up his position at the far instead. Berisha central and a little flick on, but safe pair of hands from Andrew Redmayne. That's wayward from Berisha. Bratton. Lafondra. Burgess. Had a touch, and Grant was brave to nod it on. Oh, Lafondra, I fancy, was trying to backheel it into the path of his teammate. Burgess picks up the loose ball. Lafondra, Grant is furthest forward and scores from close range. There's no flag, and Sydney FC from 1-0 down are now 2-1 up, just as they were here against City back in round 7.
Well, it's great noise in Allianz. It's a great goal. Brave from Lafondra. A bit fortunate here to get out of this one. Van der Ven didn't read it. This is probably going to be ruled out, you know. VAR again. Who knows? We'll see. Let's enjoy the football whilst it's still live. But I can't see how that one's going to stand. Van der Ven beaten to the punch. Max Burgess. Too clever.
The third time VAR has been called upon to get involved in a big decision, yeah. And I think that's the correct decision. The Sydney fans don't like it, of course, but Lafondra did appear to be offside. And we're back to 1-1. Here's Leckie. And Bratton's won it back for Sydney. Burgess, Lafondra. Blocked by Good, not once but twice. Drops again for Sydney. In the shape of Burgess. Now Caceres manages to dig it out. Burgess. And in the end, the shot lacked any real power. Just over 10 minutes to go. Sydney scored their winner last week in the 80th minute against the Wanderers. Tilio gets clear of Burgess, driving towards the penalty box. Great run, down he goes on the edge of the box. Breaks here for McLaren. And a really good scrambling stop by Andrew Redmayne. The flag was up anyway. And that's the danger of Jamie McLaren.
Look at this run from Tilio. There's Luke Bratton, 26, zeroing in. Does he win the ball there? The referee says yes. And there's McLaren.
Oh, that's tight for offside. Maybe a toenail.
Maybe a toenail. And without it going in, of course, it stays the assistant's call. Luke Bratton does get the ball. It's a great bit of work because he had a head of steam on him. Tilio then. And Redmayne smothering.
Scott Jamieson into what is now his familiar midfield position. Lamb's first involvement is a pretty poor clearance straight at Lolly. And Patrick Wood desperately trying to stay onside. He's completely wrong-footed by that. Tilio. Wasn't intended for him, but he got on the end of it. This is Naboots, and he's going to have a go. Just catching practice for Redmayne, but worth a try.
3 fabulous saves from Tom Glover. Andrew Redmayne hasn't been called on in the same way.
Lolly, near post for Woods! And Tom Glover reacted quickly, but did he have all the angles covered?
Well, given the form he's in, you'd think so, and it certainly looked like it was a tight angle from Patrick Wood's effort. Lolly controlling nicely, getting that just half a little bit of space.
Rado Vidicic hoping his team and retain parity for the second leg to come at Amy Park, where they are so strong. Nodded back into the box by Grant. Oh, it's a good shot on the turn, that, by Caballo. Scored a couple of goals this season for Sydney, the Spaniard. Arrived as a fullback, but certainly playing more advanced than that. A little check of the watch from Adam Kersey. Goes wide from Lau. And that will do for the first leg of this semi-final. All square after 90 minutes, but you'd probably say advantage Melbourne City ahead of the return leg at Amy Park. City, of course, haven't lost a home match all season. They will fancy their chances of finishing off the job there and winning through to a 4th grand final. But Sydney still alive, courtesy of that twice taken second half penalty. The first one from Caceres, brilliantly saved by Tom Glover, but the retake ordered for encroachment. Adam Lafondra tucked it away. All that after Matt Leckie had given Melbourne City a first half lead. Tom Glover made some excellent saves tonight. Ryan Grant thought he'd scored the winner from Adam Lafondra's cross, and that was ruled out by VAR for offside. Correctly so, as was one from Robert Mack in the first half for the same offence. A really good game of football between these two, and still plenty to come in the second leg. And after the first leg here in Sydney, it ends all square. Sydney FC 1, Melbourne City 1.